Hello, are you out there? It's Mark with Redo Over, and we are back to episode 20 billion with no DLC vanilla play. Now we're like at 25 or something, pushing through the springtime, and we're waiting for 4.0 to drop, and then we'll see. Will we keep playing? I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure there'll be tons of people out there talking about the new everything that it can do. There are already people beta testing it and talking about the game mechanics and game balance. It's exciting. I get it. I get people being like, this is what's coming, but it's not done. It's only for certain factions. Game balance tweaks are going to happen, and it's just jumping the gun. It's people talking with authority about something they don't have the authority to talk about yet, because they literally don't know how it works. It's like, by all means, when it's done, play it for a few weeks, a couple weeks, a week, I don't know. Put in 20 hours, you feel like you know what you're talking about, and then talk about it. But it's just like, let me tell you, it'll most likely be this way. It's like, what are you going to do? Okay. So I was noticing something when I loaded this save up today. The Juvens never took the Ichni system because there is a bunch of space amoebas up here. I don't know what. They're neutral to us. The prisms, probably space crystals, if I had to guess. Yeah, lots of space crystals, but this is probably a pretty decent system. I say that because in my estimation, most of the time, systems that are occupied heavily by space fauna that don't move out are better systems, and there is a planet in here. So I think we should send a science ship in there to survey the system and potentially claim it. Now, this is a little risky because this system is in the heart of Juven territory, but we have very good relations with the Juvens, and I would love another cool habitable world. There aren't really habitable worlds accessible to us. We have a couple extremely low habitability worlds. Now, it's a bit of a risk because we don't know how good... Oh, it's a Gaia world. Oh, okay. Well, that solves that. We're definitely doing that then. Okay. Where's our nearest science ship? Oh, wow. Geez, we've cleared everything out of the northern portion here. We have we have 4 science ships going right now. Gagarin, Armstrong, Darwin, and the Russian ship, as we've come to call it. Let's see. Can we get another science ship? We're going to go to leaders. Yeah, we have headroom. We are only at 4 or 5 scientists max. So let's grab one real quick. We'll go to scientists. These are the recruitable leaders. Now, in particular, we're interested in surveying or anomaly. Anything that has advantages to surveying or anomaly would be useful to us. I also see some of these are relatively advanced scientists. So that's eagerness right there. Anomaly research speed plus 10%. Or survey speed plus 10. These are both good. This guy's a little younger though. Yeah, let's grab Tauhi. We're gonna hire him. Yes. Excellent. He is now in the bed. And then let's jump to our nearest shipyard and we will make him a new science ship. And actually, we'll probably make another constructor, only because we've got the Yangtze building all this stuff out right now. So let's jump in and go science ship, construction ship, boom. We'll obviously send Tau up there first, and then we'll send the constructor after. We should be able to move through the space easily, though. Shoot. I just realized something. It's going to be really expensive influence-wise to claim this system, because we are quite a few. So you see the distance between Stratal and Ichni as the crow flies, as the crow were to fly through the void of space, is not very far apart. But we don't count it by distance. We count it by star system jump points. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 away. Or 7 away. Because if it's 1 away, that's the least amount you could pay. So it's 7 beyond the base amount. Is there a way to figure? We've got a ton of influence. Hold on. Let's just click on the Yangtze. They're built. Let's just right-click. Oh, you can't see it. We're lacking 66 influence. That means that is going to run us 420. Is that right? 420. My math not so good right now. Yeah, 420. But it's a Gaia world, meaning 100% habitability. We're gonna do it. We're gonna save up our influence pennies, and we're gonna grab that Gaia world. Why the heck not? Okay, let's run the clock. We'll run it fastest mode. I don't even really remember what we're doing. I know we are scanning all the systems down at the bottom here. Here we go. Love's Labor's Lost. Having decrypted the signal, Jessica Newman was astonished to discover it was broadcasting in an archaic form of one of the main human languages, speaking in these and thous and whenceforth. It appears to be reciting one of the lost works of William Shakespeare, a renowned human playwright who lived some 600 years ago. It appears that the broadcasting device, a simple satellite dish protected by a small shelter, is the only non-natural structure on the planet. There is no hint as to who left it there or why, but going by the wear and tear on evidence, it must have been there since shortly after the play was first written. That's right, William Shakespeare was an alien, folks. Long before humans learned the secret of space travel, we can only assume it was left there by ancient visitors to Earth who took a liking to the play and decided to pay our species a strange and unexpected tribute. Two options. Wonderful news. Disseminate the recordings across the nations for a whopping 6,400 unity. I would take that. That would nearly double what we have. Or a gift. We must find a way to thank our benefactors. Gift from mysterious benefactor modifier added for 5 years. Xenophile ethics attraction plus 100%. Citizen pop happiness plus 10%. I wouldn't mind that, but I want the unity. Let's just grab the unity. We're trying to make our way through our traditions. Yeah, there you go.
System survey complete.
Okay. And I do want to scroll that. We want to make sure that all of our science ships, those are military fleets.
Research complete.
Okay, I'm going to pause here because we got a lot of stuff popping up. I'm just looking real quickly. Our science ships look like they are all functioning. Awesome. Strottal finished the science ship it was building. Let's get Tau in there. And we will send him on to survey the system, and we will send the constructor after them. Yeah, they can go there since it's all friendly space. Very good. And then what did we just finish up here? Area. All right, and it looks like the Russian ship is just moving on from there. They're on auto survey. Perfect. And we finished constructing where? Oh, Nebula. Geez, Siplum is a great system. Look at the energy, all this. Lots of research. So yeah, we're going to shift right click and we'll get those mining stations. You know, it's a little bit of a bummer, although those numbers for the energy, mining, and research are all really high. It's broken up among 7 different stations, which means there are a bunch of small pockets. It's no big deal. We'll take them. It's a good system to control, but that's like 7 energy credits to fund 7 stations per turn. But yeah, there we go. We'll get the 1 and we'll get the 2. That'll keep the India busy for a while. Armstrong surveying. We have 1 science ship moving through on automation to Chetris down here. Chetris, yeah. And we also have archaeological site going on with Herman Wagner. So I had meant to switch to Chang back over to archaeology, but we'll just let him do it. I'm not going to sweat it that much. Anything else? Is that all 4 of our science ships? Yeah. And let's just check and make sure the Adriatic is building that station for the exotic gases. Yeah, looks like everybody's got a decent job to do right now. We don't have a whole lot of constructor ships going. Let's pop up here to Mrick. And they are building the mining station. Yeah, so the Yangtze's busy. Again, we're going to claim these, although we're probably going to want to hold off on our claims until we get the 420 we need influence. Okay, we have a new science available. Planetary power grid. Oh, that's right. We wanted the new planetary power grid because we are going to start implementing the more advanced planetary capital buildings that have a big energy tax per year of like 8 energy credits or 10. It's really expensive. So unlocks the building energy nexus, which if I mouse over, limit 1 per planet. It does have an upkeep of exotic gases, which is great because we've just started to be able to claim our exotic gases. Our exotic gases are coming in at +4 per turn, and we know we have the 5th one is going to get capped off when we finish that mining station out of the void of space, as well as a stratospheric ionization element. What is this? These devices dramatically reduce the power loss during distribution. This is for orbital rings. Oh, okay, but we don't have any orbital rings. I guess that would increase your technician output on an orbital ring, but we don't got to worry about that. So we'll hit new research. Where are we at? We've just got 4 options, pretty straightforward. Now we have some good military options, shielding and UV laser. UV laser will unlock other things. It's also relatively cheap, but we have a research complex for very cheap. That's the base. And that would generate 4 researcher jobs. Yeah, that's just the upgrade. That's just the upgrade to the regular science labs. Right, research labs. So it doubles the amount of researchers you can have. It does also take exotic gas upkeep. So that's 2 buildings. The energy nexus and this are 2 buildings that require exotic energy upkeep, exotic gas upkeep. Sorry. We could probably swing it. I think we can make that work. And then down here we have hyperlane breaching. Transit hub is essentially a starbase building that lets you move robots and slaves for free between your planets. We don't do a whole lot of that. We don't have a whole lot of robots. We have no slaves. And the hyperdrive 2. Now, it has been expressed to me that, because I questioned in a recent episode what hyperdrive 2 and 3 is, because it doesn't tell you what it does here. And I was kind of like, I don't know, shrug. I don't care. And so it said, when your ships, we're going to take research complexes, but we'll talk about this. So there we go, 19 months out, perfect. Now let's just jump into Marik here. When the constructor reaches over here to the jump point, right? I don't know what they call these things. Yeah, it's a jump point to get into the hyper lanes. It has to wait for a certain amount of days before it can charge up and jump. So the better your hyper drives are, the less days it takes to jump in. So instead of it maybe taking 30 days to charge up, it does it in 15 days. I don't really know what the numbers are. I've never counted or paid attention. It's a little cryptic. One of these days, we should probably get into the shipbuilder. I've never really fiddled with it, so I would learn something new. But I'm sure when you're in there, where would it be? How do you fleet management? Is that how you build a ship? Shit, I don't know. Let's just jump in. Let's just take a quick look. Doesn't look like it. It looks like these. Oh, here we go. Ship designer tab, space fauna tab. Ooh, that's cool. Fleet manager, ship designer. So we have a corvette. We have a defensive platform. Those are the only two ships we can build. We are currently researching destroyers, which would be a 3rd format, I don't know, design. But let's just take a look at the Bromowski Corvette. Okay. I'm no expert on this, folks, but we have different types of slots. Up here we have small, S is for small weapons. So in this case, this ship has 3 slots. There are additional slots that larger ships would have. So maybe a destroyer would have 4 slots, probably, and a cruiser would have 5. And down here we have shielding and armor slots. So this is like your weapons, sure, okay, and then this is your armor, and then A is components, auxiliary components, probably, yeah. Oh, and that's what the A is for. Oh, yeah, okay, so FYI, whenever we're mousing over technologies, you'll sometimes see an S, an M, what is it, SML, small, medium, large. A is for auxiliary, and so it all dictates where stuff can go, right? There's your SML. Oh, you know, it's interesting. You think they would... Those are hexagons. Let's click on this. Those are hexagons. So yeah, these are all the weapons we can add up here. So if I click on the slot, any of these slots brings up the menu. So it's only showing you what can go in the slot when you click on a given slot. So we'll click on the A slot, which is, again, the auxiliary slots. We can improve our booster reactor. Now, does it tell us what this actually does? Power generation by an extra 50 at a cost of 9.5. So where does power generation come in? Let's jump over here. This is the stats for this sort of ship. Right here, the ship's power surplus is at a +4. You can see the calculation pops up there. The mining drone laser is taking 14. Minus means taking, utilizing. Apparently you have to power everything. So we think about like the... what's a classic example of Star Trek diverting energy from the shields to life support, or life support to the shields or phasers, right? They don't let you do that in this game. You have to power everything fully, which makes sense, I guess. You wouldn't want to micromanage that in a fleet combat with dozens of ships anyway. It wouldn't be practical. So I get it. But yeah, here you go. Energy siphon takes energy. Sensors, minimal, -5. Your power cores, +100. Our deflectors, our thrusters, our combat computers, and our FTL components. So everything you tack on here adds stuff. And some of this stuff is over here automatically added. Meaning you have to have a reactor. There has to be some energy source, whatever it is. You have to have a hyperdrive. Unless you're a defensive platform, in which case no hyperdrive, right? Okay, you have to have a thruster component of some sort for sublight navigation. Radar system, yeah, I would guess that's your basic sense. It's radar. Like, we have radar now, so that's clearly the most basic possible technology. You can see power usage 5, sensor range 1, hyperlane detection range 2. Radar for hyperlane detection. You know how radar penetrates in hyperspace. We get it. In combat computer, swarm mode. Yeah, ship fire rate +5%, evasion +5%. Swarm tactics. The ships will charge straight at an enemy and try to deal as much damage as possible from the range of their shortest range weapon. Oh, wow. That's interesting because that means they got to get close. They're going to wait till they get close and try and overload. That means ships designed with longer range weapons will get the first shot. They will draw first blood, potentially destroying some of your smaller ships trying to swarm. Okay, so, but yeah, and I think you can't even click on, yeah, there you go. Those are the hyperdrives. So base fusion reactor 75, the improved fusion reactor is 100, and then over here, if we were to put the reactor booster on, we would get 50 more. So we would jump from 100 to 150. But yeah, so at any rate, we'll click on that. So you see the Roman numerals will indicate that you have more and more advanced technologies in all these. And here in the combat computer, you actually have a couple of options. I love these little EEPROM things. They remind me of like little digital insects, which would make for a great game. These little EEPROMs crawling around. There. Someday, we'll make that someday. Basic combat computer, Picket combat computer. This ship will advance to medium range and attempt to intercept incoming enemies and the swarmer. So you can get more and more types. You only get to choose one AI logic, though, to run your weapons. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. So looking at this, we can name the class, because you can have different categories. You might want to make different types of this, 2 types of corvettes with different designs, different roles. Sure. How would you define the role? Probably by switching them to different combat computers. One would be a Picket class, one would be a Swarmer class. Sure, right? If you wanted to save on money, say you knew you were going to use the ships defensively, specifically, you would probably equip it with the lowest hyperdrive or no hyperdrive. You could do that. What would that save you? It would save you 10 power, and it would save you 4.75 alloy. If you elected to make defensive corvettes for one system only without drives. I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's pretty handy. Your fleets are somewhat limited in the game. You know, it's not like you have an infinite number of them, so you probably want your ships to be able to jump into hyperspace. But yeah, you could make some defensive monstrosities, but I think maybe that's part of the reason why defensive platforms exist, so that you're not trying to micro that. Your defensive platform is functionally a beefy boy that can't move around. Very defensive. Okay, but yeah, here's your build time. This is your upkeep in energy and alloy per month. So keep an eye on that. And this upkeep can sometimes include rare strategic resources. So you start building 50 ships that are all taking a tenth of an exotic gas per month. It's going to eat through your exotic gases real quick. Space nuts, volatile motes, all the good stuff. You guys know. That's the overall cost in alloy to make each ship. But yeah, power, hull points, which is hit points, sure, okay. Armor, which is more hit points. Usually they get chewed through before hull points are going to get chewed through. And then finally shields. We actually are carrying a significant amount of shielding on this ship. So the shields are going to go first, then the armor, then the hull points last. Now, it's important to note that some of the more advanced weapons you're going to come across in the game can get bypass capabilities, meaning you can have trying to think of something. There are weapons that will functionally bypass all the shields, the energy shields, and just go straight to the armor. That's a real thing. So there's two strategies when you're designing ships. One is to make a universal ship that has a balance of shielding, armor, energy weapons, kinetic weapons. You can kind of take on anything. It's not a bad approach. But if you have good intel on your enemies and you're really paying attention, you're really kind of microing in, and you know you're going to go up against a specific type of space alien fauna where they're crystals, so they don't have shields, they just have armor. So you're like, okay, I want the weapon that's going to do the most damage to armor because I know these crystals have no shields. This is just a for example. Then you can design ships specifically. So we talked about general or specific. Those are the two ways to design ships. For safety, when you're new to the game, or if you just don't want to micro it, make general ships. Make generalist ships. And I think for the most part, the computer kind of does that for you. But if we just mouse up here at the small cutting laser, down towards the bottom, we have a minus 50% shield damage in red. That means that the cutting laser is ineffective. It's inefficient at getting through shielding. It has some effect, but it's not a great way to get through shields. However, it's plus 50% to armor and 50% to hull damage. That's good. Because between the armor and the hull damage, that's most of the hit points. You just got to chew through the damn shield before you can get to those two. So, and then let's see, what's the other one? We have the energy siphon, plus 100% to shield damage, minus 75% to armor. Meaning this energy siphon is literally drawing energy off the shield, punching through it easily, but it does almost nothing to armor. Almost ineffective against armor. And then no modifier to hull. It hits the hull, but just at the normal amount. It will get through that as well. So it's an interesting idea here. The energy siphon is the weapon in this case that would chew through the shield. The cutting lasers are what's going to get through the armor and then take out the hull with the energy siphon at that point. Energy siphon works against the hull, so that's cool. If it doesn't show a plus or a minus, it just means, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but if it doesn't give you a plus or minus percentage, it means it just does normal amount. I hope, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how it works. You can see you're under every weapon. It's giving you a damage range, the cooldown in days until it fires again, accuracies, tracking. I don't exactly know what the difference between accuracy and tracking is, to be honest. That gives you the range. That does matter. So check it out. The energy siphon's range is 0 to 60. The cutting laser is 0 to 30. That means that the energy siphon will be able to shoot first, hopefully chewing through the shield, And then your small cutting laser, you got to get closer for that to get through the armor and the hull. Now, bear in mind, when we're talking about a ship like ours that has 200 shield, it's going to take a long while for that energy siphon to get through the shielding, dealing 8 to 21 damage per pop, right? It's going to take probably, we'll say, crap, I'm just trying to do some, we'll say 12 pops. It's going to take 12 cycles to, on average, damage output to chew through the shield. Well, times 4 days, 12 times 4, we're looking at 50 days easily. So almost 2 months of firing to get through there. But you go, that's a really long time. It is. But we don't usually send ships in to fight one at a time. Our corvettes are usually going to be in fleets of 20 corvettes, 50 corvettes, or destroyers, you know what I'm saying? So actually, and I'm not saying they all ships fire at this focus fire on the same ship, but in general, I believe the AI is smart enough to have like your 20 corvettes in a fleet target one ship. Now, if you have 20 of these energy siphons all hitting a single corvette's shields at once in a single salvo at the range of 60, they're going to let off and they'll get through all 200 shielding right off the bat. Then the ships advance from 60 distance to 30. Those cutting lasers kick in, and the 20 of them together are probably going to then lance through that corvette. So in the opening salvo, the first days of a space combat, you probably could take a corvette all the way down. I say that because most of the ships will retreat at some point if they're damaged severely, but they're not destroyed outright. They will initiate an emergency jump drive and get the heck out of there. And you won't get the kill. You'll get them out of the combat, but you won't get the kill. So, yeah, what you'll notice, it's hard to notice in the game, honestly, because ship combat is kind of just happens. You're not really controlling it so much that I know of. So it can be a little opaque as to what's going on. But it's very easy for space combats to last a really long time. Months and months of gameplay. And it's also easy for many of the ships to not be destroyed, but to jump away to safety. Essentially, it's an inefficient combat you'll get into because you haven't specifically designed your ships to be effective at destroying the enemy ships. You haven't taken into account the range of their weapons, the effective range of your weapons, the AI combat computer logic you're using, right? So maybe you would throw on your destroyers some picket chip. If they're going to get into medium range, you're going to load them up with a long range weapon that's effective against shields, the longest range weapon you have that's most effective against shields. So your destroyers are going to come in at picket, medium range, start pounding those shields away. Your swarm of corvettes, you've loaded up with just the closest range slugger weapons, the highest DPS that's effective against armor and structure. And so you're using two strategies in terms of chips in the build out of those weapons so that one part of your fleet takes shields down safely at range first because they fire further away, first blood kind of thing. And then your other class of ships gets in close and specializes in armor destruction and hull point destruction. And what you'll find is that you can have drastically improved combat outcomes when you pay attention to that. And instead of like 15 out of 20 of the enemy ships escaping and jumping away from a combat over a couple of months and then only to be repaired and you have to face them later, you can take out 15 of the 20. Get real kills. And they don't come back. They've got to be remade. The hulls are destroyed. Total waste. So, yeah, you can be way more efficient. But it doesn't seem complex. I will admit that this looks pretty straightforward. You've only got so many options. Your defensive options, your auxiliary stuff. Gives you a couple of check boxes. Clear design, autocomplete, ship roll. I'm not exactly sure what that does. Oh, there you go. A screen, a gunship, artillery, brawler. Yeah. Artillery would be long range. Brawler is close range. Gunship? Gunships are intended to fight other ships of their size category, bristling with many mid-ranged weapons as possible. So they'll specifically go after a ship of their size category preferentially. And screen ships carry point defense and flak, protecting the rest of the fleet from missiles, torpedoes, and strike craft. Yeah, in particular, we don't have torpedoes yet, but torpedoes are more effective against larger ships. So a torpedo, essentially, the idea is it's a warhead burst, right? So imagine the torpedo is not making direct contact with the enemy ship. I think is kind of how they're looking at it. The torpedo is going to burst away from the ship, and so the energy blast wave is going to travel out in a sphere. The larger the surface area of the ship, the more of the torpedo's energy it's going to absorb. You'd have to imagine a cruiser, it probably has 10 times the surface area of a corvette. And so therefore, it's going to absorb a lot more of the energy from the torpedo blast. Now, does that mean that a single torpedo warhead can hit multiple ships within its blast range? I don't know if it's truly explosive that way. It'd be an interesting way to do it. Or you could fire a torpedo into the midst of a fleet, and as it explodes, it does splash damage on all the ships. I don't know if that's how it works, but that's kind of how you think about it. Because again, the same torpedo hitting a corvette will not do as much damage to the same torpedo hitting a battleship, amazingly. So there are weapons specifically designed for small ships to use against big ships. That's the point of all that. Then you have strike craft that can jump in. I think strike craft can hit other strike craft. I think they're effective against large ships. Yeah, we'd have to get strike craft and read about what they do. But let's check the last two here before we jump out of this. Artillery. Artillery ships prefer long-range missiles and direct fire weapons, meaning like, like laser beams, but really long range. They tend to have difficulty finding smaller ships or those that get too close. And that may be because some of the long-range weapons like missiles and long-range direct fire have a minimum fire range. That rather than 0 to 100 range, it's 30 to 100 range. Meaning you can get inside of the effective firing solution for given weapons. Possibly. And also, I would guess that the longer range weapons, the big hitters, don't fire as often. So, yeah, you would send in strike craft against an artillery ship. Because the strike craft are going to get to point-blank range functionally. Brawler. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to click on it. Brawler. Brawlers are built for close fights, favoring high damage but short-range weapons like autocannons and disruptors. Yeah, they're probably... Rate of fire is probably higher. Damage output may be higher. And they may take up less energy and alloy so you can put more of them on a ship? No. Probably not. I think all ships are relatively limited per their class on how many of these slots you get. Right? Like a bigger ship's going to have more slots unlocked. But okay. I think that's good. We have speed, evasion. I'm sure the size and the speed affect evasion. That's your average DPS damage output per clock, per watch face. It's per day. It's per day. Okay, we get it. And special values. It's two. Oh, there you go. Sensor range and piracy suppression are your two special values. And so you'll find, I think corvettes are better than battleships at pirate suppression. We'll check back later, but that's it for now. Okay. We did it. Yay. We looked at combat, shipbuilding. We haven't we haven't designed anything, but we can imagine doing it someday. There's almost nothing to design right now. Don't feel bad because functionally we don't have a lot of weapons technologies, but as you go after certain technologies, you can really focus in, get either a lot of different types or very powerful versions of the specific weapons you want. Okay. And then finally here, we got the tradition available. Yes, please. We did diplomacy. I don't know why we did diplomacy. We did diplomacy because I never do diplomacy, and I'm trying to learn new things to talk to you guys about. Probably wasn't the best pick, but it is what it is. We want trust, though. Specifically, we want to improve trust because we're trying to vassalize the Nat Fan Cam. We want to vassalize everyone. So that's an additional envoy. And you could form a federation. We may do that. We may form a federation eventually. But here's the trust cap and trust growth and diplomatic acceptance, envoy. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one we really wanted right there. Because if we jump over to our contacts, vassalized, we're improving relations here. We've sent an envoy to them, an ambassador. And you can see we're growing by +3. And does it show trust? I know I'm always looking for trust. I never can see trust. We got to go into diplomacy. Trust is this one. Oh wow, we have 0 trust. Why don't we have trust with the Nat Fan Can? We currently have 0 trust. They trust us by changes of -25 each month due to base decay. Okay, that's the minimal amount of decay. Trust is a measure of how our long-term relationship with this empire and directly impacts their opinion of us. It increases from maintaining diplomatic and economic agreements with them. Oh, we may want to make some economic agreement. And then we'll benefit from that +33% to trust growth. But if we have 0, we don't benefit. Their maximum trust with us is 100 due to no significant diplomatic deals. Direct diplomacy +50. So maybe that will kick over here. Let's let the month run by real quickly here.
Construction complete.
Click back on the tab. It did not update. Okay. Let's try and do. Yeah, look, there are commercial packs, research packs with the Juvens, migration treaties. Let's try and have them do something with us here. Pre-relations, we're already doing, right? We're already doing that. Right there. Travis Ferguson's working on it. Okay, cancel that. Build a spy network, declare war, make claims, offer trade deal. Yeah, let's do that. Offer trade deal. Oh, resources and information. Is that what we're interested in? Communications doesn't. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Here we go. Form non-aggression pact. Sure, let's do it. It will take a little bit of our influence each month. It'll cost us 0.12 each month. Shared intel minimum level 20. This is cheaper though. If I recall, that used to sit at 0.25. So maybe because we are now in the diplomacy tradition tree, it's cut that cost in half, making it much cheaper in influence cost monthly for us to have trade deals, research deals, migration treaties, right? Okay, so there might be that benefit. Your trust will increase by a plus 0.66 each month. That's not bad. Let's do it. It looks like the acceptance is sitting at 25. One of the other options, by the way, under the diplomacy tradition is, I think it said like a +5 to the acceptance. So that would affect this number as well. So there are some very direct benefits. I'm glad we're looking at it. So behind my face box, you can't see there's just a confirm button back here. There's nothing you're missing. So I'll hit confirm. We'll see if they want to do that. And you know what? Let's just shoot out a couple others while we're at it. Guarantee independence. I wonder if that affects whether or not we can vassalize them. Let's click on this. The United Nations of Earth used the continued independence of the Nat Fan Can Citizen Compact as a prerogative. We're prepared to formally devote ourselves to that cause. Guarantee the independence of the Empire. If they are attacked, we will automatically come to their defense. Their trust in us will increase by that much to a maximum of that. Ooh. I don't know that I want to do that, though, because we do want to vassalize them. Hold on. Let's hit cancel. How can we tell? Let's go. How do we exit out of this? Hold on. Ah, dang it. This is what I wanted. The Ishnians. We have a migration treaty with the Ishnians. We have a truce. We have favors. We owe back and forth to each other. And we're improving relations. Okay. Well, we're not going to guarantee independence to the Nat Fan Can. We can't do that. But could we do establish an embassy? Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Confirm. Perfect. And anything else we can do? We'll propose subjugation later. Oh, look, we cannot do any of these yet. Positive relations or trust. Trust. All this requires trust, but we're going to get into that. We're going to be building trust now that we've sent out these initial offerings. Hopefully they'll take them. None of it's actually come into effect yet. We've just put it out there. Okay, simple. That was a big pause. Let's take the Yangtze and move her on to Lacnium, which is not a great system, but it's got a lot of trade. We're going to move there, but we are not going to have it designed or build yet. I really want these guys to go do that. We haven't done any of that. All right, we're running it fastest here, folks.
Complete.
Oh, okay. Hey, check it out. They agreed to the non-aggression pact, and they agreed to the embassy. Perfect, perfect. And let's just mouse up here. You can see consumed is at 0.25. The non-aggression pact is taking to 0.12. Migration pact 0.12. So again, very cheap and efficient way to do that. Let's actually jump into Unity. Let's take a look at diplomacy, because I wasn't exactly sure what it was going to do. Diplomatic influence cost reduced by 50%. Right there at the top. That's, yeah, that's not bad. Even if you just dipped into diplomacy just for that, like say you were playing in a galaxy map with 12 other alien civilizations. You'd be at war with some, you'd be neutral with others, you'd be allied, friendly with others, but you would chew through your influence up here so fast if for every little thing you were using up a quarter of an influence. You would really limit your relations. So by taking the diplomacy dip here, it allows you to do a lot more negotiating stuff. So what else? If we finish everything, if we cap off diplomacy, we will gain monthly Federation experience gain +2. I don't know what that is. Diplomatic weight +10%. Official capacity +1. And of course the Ascension perk. So yeah, there's some cool stuff. Embassies produce unity. And we certainly have created an embassy. Do we have an embassy with everyone? We probably should at this point, just to get that unity. So let's go to the Ishtian state. Let's just jump in. Do we have an... No, yeah, we have an embassy. Recall embassy would mean that. Select... What does that do? Oh, yeah, it does let you switch between them. That's cool. It just doesn't really say, yeah, you got to mouse over to get their name there. Okay, here we go. It says... You guys get it. Recall embassy. Okay, so I think we got embassies with everyone now. That's sweet.
Research complete.
Why is the Adriatic sitting? Where's the Adriatic at? Where are you? She just finished Sanopel. We'll move it on to Zanrox's Rest because we do want those 2 alloy. That's a good system for us. Actually, considering how much time we're going to have till that science ship fully surveys that Gaia system, let's claim this right now. I do want it, so that's 52. Yeah, we'll be fine. Okay, they'll do that. Here's a new technology. Galactic Administration, Civic slot, +1. Remember, every civilization only starts with 2 civic picks. We just got a 50% boost. This is a big good thing. And we got the system, Capital Complex, and this is the capital building upgrade. And you can see here that its base energy upkeep per month is 10 energy. It is expensive. You're going to have one of these eventually on every one of your colonies. Now, it is limited, though, by how many pops are on a planet. You can't just build a system capital complex on a new colony with like 3 pops. But this is great. We're going to look into this next. So research, next research, we got a little time here. Okay, so remember, Herman specializes in social sciences. So statecraft or biology would be very good picks for him. But let's just take a look here. Edict Fund +20 leads to other pockets. It's cheap, but as we've discussed, Edict Fund +20 isn't very much Edict, but maybe. Off-world trading. This is this doesn't do a whole lot for us. I mean, it's not bad, but it's a building for our star bases where you just generate more trade from your star bases. It doesn't hurt. There are other good buildings to build, though, so we're not specifically going for trade. I'm not too worried about that. Blocker clear, more blocker clear, more blocker clear. We do need to get these done at some point, but for right now, let's grab the Edict Fund, and then we'll start going after some of those blockers. Okay. None of these are that great at picks. And then what the hell is this? Oh, that's our civic point. And terraforming candidate discovered. Okay. Where are you? Let's see here. Okay, that's cool. Right there. Maybe someday when we get the technology, we can terraform that. Like, it takes a bunch of energy or whatever the hell. Okay, and then here we go. Unspent civic point. To get into this, we reform government. It's not obvious. It's like, reform the government, and you get new civics. Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, reforming government. There's two things you can do with that. You can rarely you can shift your government ethics. Pick a new one. Move those around. That would be under reforming government, but also changing your civics. You can see here that you can only have up to 3 ethics in here, right? Because you essentially get 3 points for your ethics. You can go 2 into one and 1 into another, or you can go 1, 1, 1 and have 3. That's how that works. For your civics picks, you just get to pick 2 civics to start with, but here we have now earned our 3rd civics pick. Sweet. So we're going to reform government. Up here at the top, whoa. Reform your government by changing its ethos, civics, or authority. Making changes will incur a unity cost. Okay. Check this out. This is going to cost us 210 unity to make the switch. So we actually got to wait a month. We're not ready to do that. Yeah, we're not ready. And we could change the authority. I've never tried to change the authority before. But now you know it's there. We're going to hit cancel for now. Let's get our unity up a little bit more. So we're watching stuff happening. This guy's building all sorts of cool stuff. That icon will stay up there until we do it. There we go. We got the unity we needed. Let's jump back in. Reform government. Okay, folks. So as we scroll down here, quite a few of these are grayed out. These are really locked behind your ethics and your authority. So your leadership as well as your ethics determine the vast majority of what you can choose here, as well as some of your, like, are you lithoid or biological or whatever, synthetic. But yeah, all these grayed out ones are not an option, which is fine. So we're going to focus in on the handful that are not grayed out. We should probably try and pick something that's going to synergize well with the civilization we've already made. We're dipping hard into diplomacy and being the leader of our galaxy, I guess, right? Cultural politics, edict upkeep minus 20%, code breaking plus 1. Code breaking has to do with when you are making contact with a new alien species and you're trying to decipher their language. Yeah. Maybe. Efficient bureaucracy. Bureaucrats and priests provide edict fund scaling with their unity production. Meaning you can get more and more edict fund the more your bureaucrats or your priests produce unity. We're not really chasing after that so much. Environmentalist. We're not environmentalists. It's kind of cool. It actually, the more blockers, the more blockers you leave on your planets, the more you benefit from your Ranger Lodge. But I've never really liked that civic because eventually you want to clear out those blockers. Blockers prevent a lot of districts on your planets. We're not going to mess with that. Free Haven. Pop growth from immigration plus 15%. Immigration pull plus 50. Worker happiness plus 5. Maybe. Considering we live in a pretty friendly galaxy, we could potentially gain a lot of pop growth from immigration pool. Maybe that would get us pops. It's questionable. Functional architecture. Building and district cost minus 15%. Planetary build speed plus 15. Building slots per planet plus 1. That's a good one. That's the kind of thing you'd want to start the game with if you could. It wouldn't hurt us now. We're still pretty early in the game. We're only at year 49. So we're like 1/6 of the way through the game. Some of our colonies are pretty developed, but many of them are not particularly developed yet. We have a lot of building left to do. So functional architecture, definitely be a safe bet. It's never going to hurt you to have functional architecture. And it's simple. There's no special something you don't got to understand anything. You just use it. You get cheaper stuff. Meritocracy, specialist pop resource output plus 10%. That's definitely not bad. Now that's not your workers. That's your energy workers, your miners, your farmers, your clerks are laborers, workers. But your priests, your bureaucrats, your researchers, your alloy and consumer good production, those are specialists. They're rarer resources. So 10% bonus is 10%. It's not bad. Mining guild, minerals from all your miners are +1. That's cool. We're not heavy into miners though, so probably not worth it. I mean, we probably only have. Well, we just don't focus in on mining a whole lot, and we don't need it. We've never had any issues with mineral production, so that's not really going to help us. Parliamentary system, factions will form in your empire shortly after the game starts, and then faction resource output plus 40%. That is sizable. So this would be a good start of the game pick because it means you will get your factions over here in the first year. I don't know if anybody noticed, but we had to wait a while. I don't know what year it happens, year 5 or year 8 or year 10, but it gets you a lot more unity really early on in the game. So this pick isn't so good for us because we don't benefit from the effect. The modifier will still benefit us, and you can see that plus 40% would then be applied over here to the 85 and the 61, giving us. I'm going to add them together, and I'm going to take 40% of this. 140. So yeah, 45 extra unity a month. That's not bad. But compared to the 443 we're already gaining, it's 10% more-ish. Yeah. 40% is a big number, but ultimately from all of our other sources, it's only about 10% full. And then finally, Shadow Council. Election term variance plus 5 years. Election cost minus 75, meaning to influence elections. It's much cheaper to pick your person. Effective counselor skill +1, code breaking +1, infiltration speed plus 10%. None of that helps us out that much. Let's look at the other ones we've already chosen. We have citizen happiness there and Beacon of Liberty, monthly unity, empire size from pops. Interesting. It's all cool. It's all good. Free haven, immigration, function. I almost think efficient bureaucracy. I've commented that we can only essentially afford a couple of edicts at any one time because our edict fund is so limited. But if we take this, we could get a lot more edicts going. You can get builds in the game where you can have every edict enacted all the time. It takes a couple of the different civics picks. I don't know, what are the two of them that you'd take? Yeah, I think if you take cutthroat politics and efficient bureaucracy or something, and you build a lot of bureaucrats or priests or whatever, you can essentially have an edict fund that'll allow you to choose 12 edicts at a time, and it's a whole extra layer. I mean, it's so many buffs on your empire. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, let's do it. Efficient bureaucracy. What the heck? Reform. Boom. It's done. It's just happened. Let's jump over now into government tab, policies and edicts. You can see we were at 96 of 85. Granted, we are doing the research to gain 20 more, so actually, considering how little we have, 20 will be helpful. But you could see this 90, this 85, we're maxed out. This single research subsidy is at 97. It's taken the whole thing. We can only have one unity-based edict, which is what this is. This edict fund, by the way, represents available unity. It doesn't count against energy ones or these rare resources. And even down here, improved energy initiative, we could barely afford that. So we're not able to utilize more than one of these at a time. Granted, we could take a couple of the little ones. We could take up to 3 of the small ones if we wanted to, but whatever. Diplomatic grants. Diplomatic weight plus 10% available envoy. So yeah, there's little stuff we want to. But let's just watch. Let's watch what happens with this. We're at 85. We'll run the clock through. Okay, pausing again, jump back in. 116. That's big ups right there. 80, that's 31. We gained 31 edict. That's cool. So not only does that relieve the waste, we were losing like 12 before. 85 to 97 was 12 unity that was coming off. You can see it pop back up there, right? We were at 435. So that's good. We're getting that back. And we have a little bit of overhead now. We have 719 overhead. We'll wait till our research comes through, and with that 20 plus the 17, it'll allow us to pick one of these little baby ones. And in general, if we have a bureaucratic planet, which we don't, Empire Capital, Mining World, Generator World, Tech World, Factory World, Forge World, and Wentworth is a unification. Wentworth is in fact a bureaucratic production world. So the more bureaucrats we get there in Wentworth, the better. Now, we want to pay attention to our capital building. We currently have a planetary capital, but we are ready to upgrade that to the system capital complex. And this is a really great way to see all the pluses, +9, +8, +3. Down here, this is what we're going to change. A lot more of everything. It'll take 900 days, so almost 2.5 years, or 3 years to do that. 2,000 mineral, which we can't afford, and it'll have that massive upkeep. At least it doesn't take any strategic resources. That's nice. So yeah, let's do it. Now let's look at some of our other large worlds like Alpha Centauri or Sirius Prime. These were our first colony worlds. They can't upgrade it yet. Why is that? When we click on this and mouse over, down at the very bottom, the red X, number of sapient pops is greater than or equal to 25. So that's your pop limit you got to hit. We are currently at 22 on Alpha Centauri. Sirius is at 21. And those are the only planets even close. Well, actually, Wentworth's getting close. So it'll be another few years, yeah, another decade, but then we'll get 2 more planets that can have that planetary complex. That's not a bad thing, though, because it lets us spread out the energy load that we're going to get hit with from that upkeep. It's really expensive upkeep on those. In fact, let's jump back to Alpha Centauri. Let's take a look at our planetary building. The base upkeep is 5. So it'll go from 5 to 10 for each of these buildings. We do want to take a look, though, at our generator world because we now have our new building, which is the Energy Nexus. The Energy Nexus is going to cost us that exotic gas, which is fine. We're just going to build the one for right now. But what it does is it energy credits from each technician on this world is at +2, and it yields 2 additional technician jobs. That's good. That's good. So yeah, let's get that rocking. We're going to do that upgrade. It'll obviously eat away at one of our exotic gases, but you can see our exotic gases have gone from 4 to +9. We must have been building some exotic gas refinery buildings, potentially. I'm looking. Maybe. Oh, yeah, right there. We did 1 building on our empire. So that'll help fund those interesting buildings we're going to get. And if you recall, we're going to get the upgrade for the research labs pretty soon. That's a technology we're working on, and that will require exotic gases for each of these. Upgrade. You'll chew through those exotic gases really fast. All right, we're closing in on an hour here, folks. Oh, I'm just waiting for these guys. They got such a long way to go. System survey complete down here at Wath. And the DeChang's going to continue on in the Armstrong, surveying more stuff. That's cool. It's a moderate system. It's not that impressive. Construction's completed at Zanrox's Rest, but we will put them to work. I want the mining station first, then the research station. We'll get those alloys. And here we go. Archaeological site pending. This is Wagner, right? Herman's doing this one. This is an underground facility. We finally reached the end of the cave. We entered something that resembled an old abandoned bunker built deep underground. It doesn't look like anything we've found before. We assume alien visitors set up a research lab down here. And given the dilapidated tanks, various bones and fossils lying around. They were studying these species just as we were. Well, that's not a good sign. Only they had this opportunity to conduct research when their specimens were still alive. Herman Wagner immediately jumped to work trying to gather any useful information from the site and databanks as soon as we plugged them into the power source. What mysteries will we uncover? I don't know. He's going to keep going here. Run the clock a little more. We got a Galactic Senate is now in session. Let's pop this up. Hold on, what are we looking at here? Up next, Guardian Angels Act. Diplomatic weight from fleet powers minus 20%. Defensive army morale plus 15. Army upkeep plus 5. No, we don't. No. Big thumbs down. Why would we support that? Why would we? Oh, no, that's up next. This is what we're voting on. Whew. Okay. Begin the birth of the Galactic Market event chain. Oh, yeah. I want that. Resource storage capacity for everyone is a plus 10,000 for all resources. That's good. We all get that. In a particular, we want the Galactic Market. We want to nominate one of our planets for the Galactic Market. Now, we can't do that yet because we're going to vote on this, but it's going to be unanimous. We're all going to go for that. That's cool. What that means is that when the Galactic Market, the birth of the Galactic Market is happening, we will come into the decision tree, and one of these options will be to nominate a given planet for the Galactic Market. I don't exactly know what influences that too much, but we'll throw our hat in the ring for sure. We might even nominate more than one planet if we can. I don't know if you can nominate more than one. Maybe you can. We'll see. Okay, running the clock. These guys are racing ahead. Research complete. What do we get? There you go. Adaptive bureaucracy. That's perfect. The progress we make calls for a new, nimbler form of administration that may aid rather than hinder us in our pursuits. New research. Ooh, we got some good stuff here, folks. Again, we got some crappy blockers. So what? Someday. Leader lifespan plus 10 years. Yeah. It's not bad. Herman is good at researching that, but you know what? I want this. Ceramo metal infrastructure, building slots plus 1, colony development speed plus 25, habitat max districts, and it unlocks other stuff. Yeah, I want those. Let's jump in for that. 36 months out, no problem. Run that clock forward.
Spaceborne life form encountered.
Where are we encountering a spaceborne life form? Down here?
Research
right there. Here we go, space debris. This is at the Chetras 6 system. Jessica has a very easy project relative to her experience. She's a level 5 scientist. There is a significant amount of debris in orbit around the gas giant. Most of it appears to come from a long-lost starship of various configurations. Starships, plural? Interesting. Yeah, we'll have her research that. No problem. She can handle that very easily. And we have a new technology popped up. Anomaly there. System survey there. Tozid. Oh, looks like we've already moved on. Looks like the Russian ship or the Armstrong moved on from there. They're continuing. One thing we're watching out for is that you'll notice we have these Juven and Ishnian science ships, which is fine. That's they're finding anomalies and doing stuff. That's cool, as long as they don't have any constructor ships. We don't want them claiming any of these. That's not. We don't want that. Also, I noticed there's dark matter around this black hole. We don't know how to harvest dark matter. We can't. Dark matter drawing is the technology, but we will want to claim that black hole at some point. Lock that in. We don't want the Ishnians or the Juvens to gain any more territory. That being said, we're watching our piggy bank up here. Do we claim that black hole right now? No, it's not critical. None of these systems are that good. Although Chetras is looking pretty nice. I see the alloys there. I'm going to leave the black hole for now, because the reality is without technology, we would get nothing for having the black hole. What are you going to do? All right, let's look at our technology we just got. Exotic materials labs, research complexes, very cool. As we explore the galaxy, we continually encounter new materials and substances that are unfamiliar to us. Cataloging and analyzing these discoveries will require new facilities, new research. We have 4 options. So colony development speed plus 50%. Not so critical for us now. We're only very rarely finding a new planet to colonize. Whether it takes 2 years or a year, it doesn't matter. So we'll just skip on that. This is just a flat 20% boost to the energy each technician produces. That's good. I would take it. Doesn't hurt. We have plenty of surplus energy. Cold fusion reactor. This is just a better form of the reactors. If you looked at under our ship design, we had 2 of them, right? This is the next one, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't have like the 3 there or whatever, but whatever. And then finally, self-evolving logic. Research alternatives plus 1. So instead of having 4 new options will be generated, we would go to 5. Probably should take that. I'm not like super crazy about like chasing after given technologies. I just kind of pick whatever feels right at the time, which is not probably the best way to do it. But yeah, we'll get a 5th option giving us. Remember, you only start with 3, so be a lot more versatility there. Let's run the clock a little more. We're gonna have to wrap up here pretty soon. They are doing it. They made it. And we're gonna get that Gaia roll. That's gonna be so great. And we have more than enough influence to claim it. They instead of like doing 60 influence, we're gonna spend 400 plus. It's really expensive, but it's a Gaia world. Debris field. The strong gravity well of Chetras 6 has pulled in a massive amount of space debris, which has formed a dense layer around parts of the gas giant. Most of it appears to be wreckage from a series of space battles fought in the system several millennia ago. Scavengers have already scoured the debris of valuable technologies and artifacts, but a mining station should be able to recycle the metal. Interesting. Just adds the minerals. I prefer alloys, but what are you going to do? And I think we're going to pause it right there, folks. That looks good. Next time we play, we're probably going to want to just scroll through our colonies real quick. Make sure they are doing okay on jobs and housing and all that, amenities. Because we didn't look at it this time. Yeah, that's right. We have Lishful down there. We have 8 colonies. We have 1 colony pretty much focused on each thing: food, minerals, energy, technology, alloys, consumer goods, unification. Well, the factory world. Yeah. I think we have everything, which is cool. I think we could also do a refinery world that just made strategic resources. I think that's would be like 1 additional colony or category we could do potentially. Or we might do another unification center, maybe, and just go ham on Unity production and our edict funds scaling. So let's save for the next time. We're gonna go look at our edicts again, because we should have the ability to at least pick 1 new edict because our edict funds scaling from our civic pick. And let's go through our 8 colonies and just make sure they're building what they need to be and they're in good shape. That's it. If you watched, I appreciate it. I will see you on the next one. Take care.